Internal Revenue Service IRS tax news. IRS new contracts awarded to private collection agencies. Taxpayers may be contacted by one of three groups. IR 2021-191, September 22nd, 2021, Washington. The Internal Revenue Service has awarded new contracts to three private sector collection agencies for collection of overdue tax debts. The new contracts begin Thursday following today's expiration of the old contracts. Beginning Thursday, September 23rd, 2021, taxpayers with unpaid bills may be contacted by one of the following three groups. So if you're contacted by one of these three groups and you owe the IRS, then the question, obviously, if there's a third party contacting you with relation to the IRS is it a scam or not? Given the fact that, of course, in this environment, there's kind of an increase in the scams that are taking place. These are people or the groups that may be contacting you. So the contact information is here, so you can kind of verify the legitimacy of them possibly in that way. So we got the CBE Group Incorporated. They got their address and their phone number here. So there'll be a link to this in the description if you want more information about that. We've got the Coast Professional Incorporated and the ConServe are the three groups or the three companies, three private sector companies. Notification by IRS and the private collection agencies. So how does this going to work? Meaning you owe the IRS money. The IRS is the one that, racked up the bill and is charging you and saying you owe them money. Then they're going to be working with these third-party contractors to help get their money from you. How does that work? Okay, so the IRS will always notify a taxpayer before transferring their account to a private collection agency or PCA. So in other words, the IRS will try to get you in compliance before they export the contract to a private collection agency. That then often, just like with a private sector, being the cheapest way to go because, you have to pay these third-party contractors to try to, get their money. So they're going to try to collect first. So you will probably be well aware that you owe the IRS money by the time it goes to the third-party collection. So first, the IRS will send a letter to the taxpayer and their tax representative informing them that their account was assigned to a PCA and giving the name and contact information of the PCA, so the collection agency, one of these three groups, in other words. So they will contact you and say, hey, look, we're going to be transferring this to a collection agency so they can further collect on it. Here's the collection agency that's going to be dealing with you. You may want to contact them and or us, and they, if you don't, will be contacting you shortly, most likely. So this mailing will include a copy of Publication 5418, what you can expect when the IRS assigns your account to a private collection agency. Nothing good. That's what you can expect. But in any case, you can look at that publication here. You can click on that and check it out because there's a link to it. Following IRS notification, the PCA will send its own letter to the taxpayer and their representatives confirming the account transfer. So then, of course, you'll get a letter from the third-party collection agencies and says, now you're in our hands. Now all bets are off. We're coming after you with No, I'm not sure exactly. But they'll send a letter at least saying, hey, the IRS is we're not scamming you here. We now have control over the collection of this. It's been transferred to us from the IRS. We're not impersonating them, and we're collecting then on their behalf. Something like that is what I would expect from the third-party collection at that point. So to protect the taxpayer's privacy and security, both the IRS letter and the PCA's letter will contain information that will help taxpayers identify the tax amount owed and assure taxpayers that the future collection agency calls they may receive are legitimate. So that, of course, is one of the major concerns, especially in this environment, is as the IRS transfers collection from them to the third party, that you are well aware that the third party is not, a scamming entity, as there are many out there, but rather they're a legitimate entity that is collecting on the IRS's behalf as the IRS has hired them to collect for them. So how it works, the private collectors will identify themselves as contractors collecting taxes on behalf of the IRS. So remember, they don't work for the IRS, but the IRS, just like for a private company, has outsourced the collection process to the third parties because they've been having trouble doing it themselves and are willing to pay the third party for that extra muscle that the third party puts in there, whatever that may be, to help get the money for collection, which will at least include, you would think, nagging, constantly and, whatnot. So in any case, employees of this collection agencies must follow the provisions of the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, and like IRS taxpayers, must be courteous and must respect taxpayers' rights. So it's not like they're going to be sending someone over to threaten to break your thumbs or anything like that, right? They still got to be in the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act and must be courteous. They got to be courteous and nice as they're trying to, pressure you to give them money that you don't want to give. In any case, so private firms are not authorized to take enforcement actions against taxpayers, so they can't really take the enforcement action there. Only IRS employees can take these actions, such as filing a notice of federal tax lien or issuing a levy. And that's really where the pressure is. So, there's no real physical danger here. No one generally, right? They're going to be saying, we're going to now be applying then the levies and whatnot and going and liens and going after your assets in that way. Again, they're basically saying that the collection agency can say what the process will be. Those are the threats. Those are the sticks that are, they're winding up. You can see the IRS is winding up their backhand. They got the stick like behind and they're ready for the pitch like the baseball player. But the IRS is the one that's going to have to apply those, the lien and or issuing the levy. And you would expect the collection agency to make you well aware of those steps and the IRS's power to deliver on them. So payment options. The private firms are authorized to discuss payment options, including setting up payment agreements with taxpayers. But as with cases assigned to the IRS employees, any tax payment must be made directly to the IRS. A payment should never be sent to the private firm or anyone besides the IRS or the U.S. Treasury. So although they have the third party basically helping with the collection process, they're still wanting the payment to go to the IRS, which can give you some more assurance, of course, that it's a legitimate process. Because if you're paying the third party, it might be, a little bit more scammy in there. So the third party saying, hey, you got to pay the IRS. We're here to tell you, you got to pay the IRS, and then you pay the IRS directly, which should give you some more security that you're paying straight through the IRS website to them directly, that it's not a scam, and you're paying what you need to owe based on what the IRS says you owed because they say so. So checks should only be made payable to the United States Treasury. To find out more about available payment options, visit irs.gov/payments. There's a link to that here. More information. The IRS established the private debt collection program in 2016 as authorized under the federal law and contract with several agencies to collect certain unpaid tax debts on the government's behalf. To learn more about the private debt collection program, visit private debt collection page. There's a link to that here. Additional information can be found at the following links. Here's the links. We got the private debt collection accounts assigned to private collection agencies, questions and answers, get transcripts, private collection of overdue tax, YouTube video, publication 4518, what you can expect when the IRS assigns your account to a private collection agency. Trouble. That's what you could expect. Bad thing. Anyway, you can read that. I'm sure that'll be uplifting reading. Understanding your CP40 notice and taxpayer bill of rights. So there's links to that wonderful and uplifting resources here, and there'll be a link to this in the description.